All right. So when we solve equations normally, and nothing major happens. We just to give you a really quick thing here. If I were to tell you like, okay, I got 2x plus 3 equal to 11, all we would do is we would like subtract 3 on both sides. And actually, let me make it a negative 2x right here, okay? So negative 2x. And then when I would divide by negative 2, I mean, nothing special happens. I would just write x equal to negative 4. And great, we got it. We're done. Okay? But something is supposed to happen whenever we divide by negatives or if we multiply by negatives. We're supposed to flip symbols, the equal sign or the inequalities. We got to flip them. But remember what we talked about. Whenever you flip an equal sign, it looks the same. So there's no reason to really talk about that when we're doing equations. But it's really important that we talk about it when we're doing inequalities. Okay? Now, inequalities are these. So inequalities are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. Okay, I'll write them down. This is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to. Okay, these are our inequalities. Okay, now we're not really going to be using the not equal to, okay, but we will be using the top four. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay? Anytime that you multiply or divide the whole inequality by a negative number, you have to flip this symbol. Okay, so I'm going to write that down right here. So whenever I'm going to use a little bit of shorthand, multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides of the inequality, so whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides of the inequality, you must, I'm going to highlight there, you must flip your inequality. Okay, whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides of the inequality, you must flip your inequality. You can always just highlight this part too, just to. So must flip your inequality. Only when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay? A negative number. Not if you do it by a positive number. Both sides have to be multiplied or divided by this negative number. Okay? So, very important that we remember that, because or else you will literally get everything wrong. Okay? If you don't do this, everything comes out wrong whenever you have to go through. So, let me go ahead and show you a couple problems here. I think your homework, you only have 9 problems. So I'll probably do like 3 or so, maybe 4, and that'll be it. Because most of these don't take too long, thankfully. So here we go. Example number 1. we're going to solve, and we're going to graph. Okay, solve and graph. But we're only graphing on a number line, so we're not using the XY axis, nothing like that. Nothing too complicated, just a straight number line. Okay, so here we go. Negative 12 is less than 5x plus 7 plus 6. All right, so we're just going to solve this. We're going to kind of pretend it was like an equal symbol, but it is a less than. But we're just going to work on it like normal. So I'm going to rewrite negative 12 less than 5x plus 13, right? 7 plus 6 is 13. Now I'm going to try to solve for x. So there's a 5 that's multiplying it, but that 13, I need to get rid of that. So let's move it over to the left side by subtracting it. So minus 13. So that gives me a negative 25 less than 5x. So in order to solve for x, I'm going to divide by what? By 5. By a positive 5. Do I need to flip the symbol if it's positive? No, only if it was negative. So positive 5, this will be negative 5 less than x. Okay, and we're done. This is my answer. But now they want you to solve it. Now, a lot of times I've had students that say, I don't understand how to graph it when it looks like that, because the x is on the other side. So I say, look, if you don't like the way it looks, just flip it. Okay? If the x is on the right, move it to the left. If the negative 5 is on the left, move it to the right. Which way is the inequality pointing right now? Is it going left or right? It's going left right now. So if I flip it, that means it has to go right. This is the same answer, okay? Those are the same. Now the reason why I do that, because a lot of people understand that a little bit better, the second one, than the first one. The one in blue makes more sense to people. When they say x is greater than negative 5, they can kind of see it. Whereas negative 5 is less than x, sometimes people are like, I don't understand what that means, right? So just flip it around. So let me show you guys the solution for the graph. So I'm just going to use a number line here. Whoops, hold on one second. All right, so what I like to do, this is the way I do it. My numerical answer is negative 5. So I always like to put negative 5 in the middle. Okay? And then I'll put two numbers to the left and two numbers to the right. So negative 4, negative 3, negative 6, negative 7. That's what I do. Okay? I don't like to start with 0 in the middle and then keep going until I get to negative 5. No, I put my answer, the number that I found, right in the middle, so I don't have to make my graphs too big. Okay? Now, when it comes to drawing circles, this is a little new thing here. I'm going to put a little note. So a quick note. If it's a less than or a greater than, then draw an open circle at the point. Okay? If it's a less than or a greater than, you're going to draw an open circle at the point. So notice for me it says x greater than negative 5. So I'm going to do this. I always draw it above it. I don't like to draw it on the number line. I like to draw it above the number line. It's just my own personal thing. I just think it's easier to see the answer. Sometimes when you draw it on the number line, the lines get all hidden with the other line. So I prefer up on top. And then which direction should I go? To the right or to the left? If it says greater. To the right, right? Because everything to the right is greater, right? Everything's greater to the right. Everything's less than to the left. So I'm just going to go like this. And there's my answer. So they wanted me to graph it. I did. They wanted me to write the answer. I did. Did I have to do the answer in blue up there? No, but maybe it might help you understand what it looks like by flipping it around. More students understand it when the variable is on the left side than when it's on the right side. Okay? So that's why I like to flip it for you guys. This part right here, I'll put like a little asterisk on it here. It's not necessary to do. Okay? That's completely up to you. But that's what I do. In my head, I flip it over. And I'm like, okay, what does it look like? Because it just makes more sense to me. All right? Now, if it's a less than or a greater than, you draw an open circle. If it's a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, draw a closed circle. All right, let me not say closed. Let me say solid. At the point. All right, so we'll do one right now where it's a solid circle. But before I move on, any questions on this problem? Let me go back really quick. Anybody have any questions on this? I mean, just solve it like normal, okay? The only time you got to worry about is near the very end where you're going to multiply or divide maybe. And you just got to check, did I multiply or divide both sides by a negative? Because if I did, I need to flip the inequality. Okay? And then obviously make sure you draw it. And then those are the rules for doing the drawing portion. I'm trying to see if... I'm going to do this problem right here. I was trying to find one that I can see that for sure I would have to flip the symbol. I know this one I do. So solve and graph. So it's negative 3 greater than or equal to negative 8m plus 5m. So I guess this one's easier than the one that we just did. Kind of. It's a lot shorter. But it's just going to help me reiterate something. So notice I have two variables, m's, on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine them. So what do I get when I combine negative 8m plus 5m? All right, thank you. So negative 3m, so negative 3 greater than or equal to negative 3m. What do I do to both sides to solve? By negative 3. All right, so notice how I divided both sides by a negative. So my answer is 1. Over here there's an m. What does my symbol become? Well, it's already greater than or equal to. You got to flip it. So less than or equal to. You're going to basically just turn it around, okay? It's going to look like that. Just make it point the other direction, that's all. So it was pointing right, now it's pointing left. Okay, if it's pointing left, now you make it point right. And we're done. Okay? So this is our answer. Again, since you have to graph it, if you don't like the way that answer looks, I'm going to write it out in blue again. Remember, you can just rewrite it. The m is on the right, I'm going to put it on the left. The 1 is on the left, I'm going to put it on the right. The symbol is pointing left, so now it has to point right. Okay, because I literally just flipped it around, okay? Kind of like if I grabbed it and just turned it, right? So there you go. So that's, again, I'll put a little asterisk here, not necessary, but it might be something that you might want to do. So let's go ahead and graph this thing. Put it on a number line. So in the middle, I'm going to put the number 1, and then 2, and then 3. Below 1 is 0 and -1. What kind of circle do I put at 1? A solid or an open? Solid, right? It's greater than or equal to. So solid circle. I'm going to color it in. Which direction should I go? It says m is greater than or equal to. So right or left? Right, right. Remember, all the numbers get bigger to the right and up, right? Think about your XY axis. All the positive numbers go up and to the right. The negative numbers go left and down. So in this case, when we're only using a number line, all the numbers get bigger as you move to the right side. Okay? They get smaller as you go left. So if this says greater than, that means you're going to the right side. So here you go. And we're done. So I'm going to do one that looks more on the difficult side. Numbers 8 and 9 on your homework, they say solve but don't graph. Okay? They say don't graph it. All right? But other ones, they do have you graphing them. So let me do one more for you guys, and then I'll stop. So example number 3. And this is one that looks pretty complicated, so let's see how it is. So we're going to solve and graph, and it looks like this. -40 minus 7n is less than or equal to -5 times 6 plus 3n minus 2n. So yeah, this one looks a lot more complicated, right? Way more difficult than example 2. Doesn't mean we can't do it, but it looks a little more scary. There's another problem, number 8, on your homework that looks very similar to that. 8 and 9 look very close to this. So first thing we're going to want to do is distribute, okay? So we're going to want to distribute, simplify, and then try to start solving. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to distribute that right there, okay? So -40 minus 7n is less than or equal to -5 times 6 is -30. -5 times +3 is -15n minus 2n. All right, so let's combine our variables first. On the right side, I have a -15n minus a 2n. How much is that? I think I heard someone say it just very softly. Negative what? -17. Thank you. -17n. All right, let's keep going. I know I have variables on both sides of the inequality, so let me move them together. Since -17 is smaller than -7, I'm going to move the -17 over. So add 17n to both sides. So I get -40 plus, what is that? Yeah, it's 10, right? 10n. Less than or equal to -30. Notice I didn't have to flip anything because I'm not multiplying or dividing by negative numbers yet. Next thing, let's get that -40 and throw it over to the right side. So we'll add 40 on both sides. So -30 plus 40 is 10. Thank you. I'm hearing it in whispers, okay? If you're wondering, like, who am I talking to? I'm hearing people whispering. Under their breath. That's why sometimes I'm like, I heard it. Just say a little louder. Now all I gotta do is divide by 10. And if I do that, do I need to switch my symbol? No, right? Because it's not negative. So that means all I have is n less than or equal to 1. And I'm done. Notice I don't have to flip this thing around because my variable's on the left side already, so that tends to make more sense for people. So I don't need to rewrite it. Let me just draw a number line here really quick. So here's 1, 2, 3, 0, -1. Is this going to be a solid or an open circle? Solid circle, right? Because it says less than or equal to. Solid at 1. Which way do I go if it says less than? To the left, right? All right, and then you're done. That's it. So this is what your homework is on, okay? Solving these inequalities, graphing them. Remember, the only tricky thing is you got to make sure that if you divide or multiply by a negative number on both sides at the same time, you got to flip that inequality.